Davos 4 of A Storm of Swords. So, with that, here we go. Davos and a few hand-picked men he knows to be loyal only to Stannis begin their mission in the dark of night. They find Edric Storm in Pylos' Solar, and the Maester tells the boy to listen to Davos, as he is the king's hand. Davos and his men bring Edric in secrecy to a ship of Salador Sands, and Davos tells the boy that he must go with Sir Andrew Estermont on an adventure. With the boy safely away from Dragonstone, Davos goes to face Stannis. He tells the king that Joffrey is dead, and Melisandre states that Tommen will be named king. When she asks Stannis for the boy, the king warns her that she will pay with her life if she is wrong. Melisandre is sure that Stannis is the one prophesied 5,000 years ago, that the comet was his herald. But Davos reveals that Edric Storm is gone, and judges, based on her reaction, that Melisandre has not foreseen this in her flames. Davos tells Stannis that a king must protect his people, or he is no king at all. When Stannis draws a Lightbringer to behead Davos, the Onion Knight begins to read out the letter that Maester Pylos received from the Night's Watch. This is also by the last time we were in a Davos chapter until A Dance with Dragons.
Man, that's kind of a bummer. I love Davos so much. And also, we're going to get our Here Comes the Cavalry moment at the end of the book here, which is my favorite Here Comes the Cavalry moment in all of fiction. I love it to death. And this book does a great job of making you kind of forget this moment because of everything else that's happening with Tyrion. And then when Stannis shows up with Jon, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. And by the way, next chapter is a Jon chapter. So, is Stannis the one, or is it Jon Snow?
It's a good question.
There we go.
Good question, dude. Davos saying, if you can't protect your people, you're no king at all. That's a banger line.
It is.
Like, Davos laid it down. I love it.
Well, I just love here. So, you were just right here. It was right at the beginning of this. Lord of Light, defend us. The night is dark and full of terrors. Well, in the next chapter, who is it? Jon Snow. Night's Watch, which is the shield that guards the realms of men.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Sure, the night's dark and scary, but that's what the Night's Watch is there for.
And Jon Snow's leading them.
Damn straight.
Let's go.
He's really about to be like next chapter.
Oh, he's clearly Azor Ahai, huh? Yeah.
Okay, so here we are. We're praying to R'hllor. Lord of Light, protect us, the queen sang. The king did not respond with the others. He was staring into the flames. Davos wondered what he saw in there. Another vision of the war to come, or something closer to home. R'hllor, who gives us breath, we thank you, said Melisandre. R'hllor, who gives us day, we thank you. We thank you for the sun that warms us. Queen Selyse and the other worshippers replied, we thank you for the stars that watch us. We thank you for the hearths and for our torches that keep the savage dark at bay. So what do we think about that, Jimmy? Just praying to R'hllor, this god of light.
I just love the religions in A Song of Ice and Fire so much because George doesn't just list them and say, oh, these people believe in this and these people believe in that. He actually shows customs around the religions and they feel vastly different. It's probably one of the better parts of the world building in A Song of Ice and Fire. But I'm interested that R'hllor wouldn't give Melisandre the heads up. Hey, your king's blood's walking out.
Maybe this is maybe that's something to do with Melisandre's really, this is the beginning of Melisandre's downfall, if you want to say downturn.
Yeah.
Because she does say, okay, Stannis, we got to go. But they only go because the Night's Watch calls them. Right?
That's true.
Why doesn't she think we need to go take out the others now? And then they get there and they're just kind of okay, well, we're just going to hang out here at Castle Black. But the plan is still, we need to take over the rest of the realm, not defeat the others.
I think Melisandre is probably looking at the Night's Watch and how they exist today and is saying that it's probably null and void. That's my guess. And that Stannis could appropriately defeat them if he was king of the seven. He was a ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. That's my guess, because she did not. I don't think she's the one that decides to go. I think that's a Stannis move, right?
Yeah, really. That's how this chapter ends. Is Davos is basically saved by the Night's Watch. Say, well, you have a bigger calling. than just
Mhm.
being upset with me for letting Edric Storm go.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little weird that Melisandre is so wrapped up in the politics. But I mean, being the ruler does come with a lot of manpower. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Is she after power after all? I don't think so. I think she believes what she says. I think she's 100% a true believer of her lore.
It's just that their path is just kind of weird,
It is.
right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, you lose to, like, you do this shadow baby thing and kill Renly,
Wild.
right?
Wild.
Now Joffrey is dead. And you did want another baby. You did want to use Edric Storm and his King's Blood for, something. So I mean, that is kind of their plan. But instead of saying, all right, now is the time to take down Joffrey or take down Tommen, because they're talking about Tommen is the next king, they decide ultimately to go all the way north to the Night's Watch and shut down this. It's just an interesting, it is, I mean, it's so cool the way it ultimately works out, because it's just was not expecting this at all. And even the show does such a great job where it's like John's there and you think he's like, all right, I'm gonna just commit suicide here and take out Mance Raider, and then boom, suddenly Stannis shows up.
Yeah. Also, like, I guess you could argue that Stannis, being who he is, has no other choice but to go to the Night's Watch. I mean, that's why he goes, right? Because of who he is. So
Yeah.
maybe Melisandre is just like, there's no talking him out of this, and probably sees it as a good thing. I imagine this is like some of the characteristics she's looking for in the person that she thinks she has.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, man, this chapter is just, it is a short chapter, by the way, but it is kind of weird. Like just the last little bit here, right? I mean, Davos is on his knees. He's on his knees getting ready to be beheaded, and he's just like, "Hold on a second, I gotta read this." It's like, you could have brought that up before you like got down on your knees and all these
Yeah,
other
I
things.
did.
It's like, why'd
That's
you wait?
actually a good point.
Like,
Yeah.
why'd you wait to the last sec? He's like fumbling inside his cloak to draw out the crinkled sheet of parchment. It seems like a thin and flimsy thing, yet it was the shield he had. A king's hand should be able to read and write. Maester Pylos has been teaching me. He smoothed the letter flat upon his knee and began to read by the light of the magic sword. It's like, you could have
Maybe.
mentioned that earlier. Hold on, before you kill me, there's something we need to read this.
Well, maybe he wanted to see if Stannis would actually go that far to say, like, this is your end, like
Yeah.
to get a good gauge on where Stannis is mentally. And maybe he had hoped that he wouldn't have to use it as a shield, but he knew he had the insurance policy. But yeah, it does seem a little dramatic to get all the way down to your knees and then be like,
And then wait for the last second.
pull out the Declaration of Independence. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on the back of the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah. I think Davos is, I mean, I think we all typically agree that the Davos is in the right. And what this chapter ultimately is, I think more than anything, is it sets up foreshadowing to what's going to happen to Selyse.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Shireen, excuse me.
Shireen.
Shireen, a king's son with the power of king's blood in his veins. Melisandre's ruby glowed like a red star at her throat. Do you think you've saved this boy, Onion Knight? When the long night falls, Edric Storm shall die with the rest, wherever he is hidden. Your own sons as well. Darkness and cold will cover this earth. You meddle in matters you do not understand. There's much I don't understand, Davos admitted. I have never pretended elsewise. I know the seas and rivers and the shapes of the coast where the rocks and shoals lie. I know hidden covers where a boat can land unseen, which is also kind of a little bit of a throw at her, right? Like, oh, yeah, I'm the one who got you in there, by the way. And I know that a king protects his people, or he is no king at all. Then Davos says, hey, if I've offended you, take my head. I'll die as I lived. And then he's like, okay, but say what you will, but say it quickly. The muscle in the king's neck stood out like cords.
Whew.
Yeah.
Stannis is kind of an imposing figure whenever it comes time to, put the metal to the neck, I guess. He does have a presence about him. That's why I love Stannis as a character, though. He's so conflicting. I like the fact that he is like very grounded in his ideals, but it also makes him just such a bastard. It makes him just so hateable at the same time.
I think he does like Davos.
Oh, I think he loves Davos. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the show kind of goes a little more into like the idea that he's like really gonna betray
Mm-hmm.
and like, or not betray, but like kill Davos. And
Yeah.
and they really kind of hype up their arguing more, where because here there's only so many Davos chapters, so it's actually not as powerful of a moment. Just something the show expanded on and did a good job. But I think like even here, it's more like Stannis is like, you can kind of see it just in the text, that it's more like the idea of him, like he likes Davos, but it's like, well, if you want me to kill you, I will. It's like, I mean, if that's really what you want, I will do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the way Davos reacts is very much how Stannis would most likely react, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah.
Like that's why Davos is Stannis's man.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, what this chapter really is ultimately it just continues down this path that Stannis is going towards, which is ultimately going to be burning Shireen. And
Yeah,
how much more is he going to be willing to do? Because at the end of the day, like he is going to, I mean, it is his kin. You're going to take blood of your kin.
Yeah. And
like you could leech Davos, or you could leech Stannis. You don't have to kill him, but you could leech him for some king's blood.
That is true.
Like you don't have to kill him, but you could just get a little bit.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah, what's up with that? It's a good point.
Edric Storm, it seems like they need a lot.
That boy was going to die. That boy was going to be 6 feet in the ground, which I'm excited to see him play a bigger role and wins a winner and such. I think that'll be really cool.
Obviously different than the show where it was Gendry, and they really kind of hammed it up. An expanded change in the show. I don't know that we necessarily need Edric Storm because we don't know what happens to Edric Storm. Maybe we do need Edric Storm. But I did kind of like what they did in the show, where it's like,
they made it work.
Melisandre comes in, she's going to seduce him, and then it's like it made her seem a little more scary, right?
Oh, yeah,
and it was definitely a tense scene. It also gave Gendry a little more screen time to build his character up. So definitely something that's not in the book, but I did think that was a pretty cool change.
Yeah, that's a good way of adapting things, right? They have to make cuts and changes and combine stuff, and that's just the nature of television. It happens literally every single time anything is adapted, and it's just reality.
It will be something that happens in Dunk and Egg.
It will absolutely happen. I mean, Tom Bombadil's not in Lord of the Rings for a reason, folks. I mean, it's just...
Is he in the Hobbit movies?
No.
I don't know. I've only seen the first one.
You should watch the recut.
I've seen like the second and third one. They've been on, like I've been like at somebody's house and they've been on, but I've never really sat down and watched it like as a big full of it. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, did you see Rings of Power's buyout is like, I think it's $2 million a season or $20 million.
Is the show happening? Are they doing another one?
No, I guess that they're trying to weigh like if they cancel the show, they have to pay I think $20 million a season or something, or $2 million an episode or something like that. And I'm like, you might just want to do it.
I don't know. It's probably worth it to not.
Bro, that show's I've tried to watch that show inebriated. I have tried to watch Rings of Power season 2 8 times.
Is it better than season 1?
No, it's so not good. And here's the thing. I don't care about the lore changes, whatever. I mean, that sucks, whatever. The problem with that show is, dude, it looks cheap. Somehow it's $1 billion show. It looks cheap. It looks so bad.
I literally watched like the first episode and I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
I mean, I don't like any Amazon.
And then
for the most part.
Oh, there's some good Amazon shows.
There are some. I mean, for the most part, I like some, but there is a tint. There's like a color grade that Amazon Prime uses for their shows. I hate it. It's like a blue, like a cool blue.
They do. Yeah. They're very into that. And then like The Boys uses that, like that green tint that was everywhere in the mid 2000s.
Oh, so yeah. Snake Eater. Yeah.
Yeah. It was in every video game, like Gears of War, all that stuff. And like a lot of the action movies and stuff, they all used it to give it that sort of like military
grungy
Iraq.
Yeah.
Like every Middle Eastern war movie, like, or American movie that like they all use that like green tint over there.
Yeah,
Resident Evil 5, which also takes place like in Africa, it's a
Yeah,
video game. It's a video game, but it's like very notorious for using
great co-op. Great
that.
co-op.
And then the people have reshaded it, like, and it looks infinitely better.
Bro, I'm just so thankful we have Dunkin' Egg coming. I'm just so thankful
Yeah.
for that because I want to watch fantasy television. I just think 90% of it's not very good. And like House of the Dragon has its problems. I still like it a lot, and I still think it's the best show in town. Like, I don't think it's close. Like,
Did they drop a Witcher season 4 trailer?
who cares?
I don't know. Or maybe they gave us like a first look of Liam Hemsworth as Geralt, and that show's gonna flop hard.
Is anyone watching that? Is anyone listening? I don't think anyone's excited for that.
No, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, I might watch the first episode of curiosity to see what I think of Hemsworth as Geralt. But yeah, I mean, 99% chance I'm not.
Well, I stand by what I said when it originally. If he had been the guy from the beginning,
Sure,
there'd be no problem.
Sure, yeah.
But you just can't replace Henry Cavill's too good.
They should have just folded the whole thing at that point, dude.
They should have just done a buyout, and they should have just been like, "What do we have to do to keep you?"
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, apparently, just listen to him about not contradicting the books, but I don't know. I know it's not easy to adapt things, but yeah, there's just been so many failures at this point. Wheel of Time, even though it had good ratings in the last season. We're very lucky that not only did we have Game of Thrones for 8 seasons, despite what happened at the end, but House of the Dragon looks like it's going to make its full run, right? It's going to have its 4 seasons.
Dunkin' Egg looks like it's going to be freaking
Dunkin' Egg, I think, is so cheap that they like, why wouldn't we kind of deal? So to me, we're just really, really lucky. I also think it does speak to the quality of HBO, regardless of what some executives might do or showrunners or whatever. And also the stories that George wrote. They're just really good for TV.
Yeah, and maybe there is a way, actually, now that I'm kind of thinking about this, and we'll tie it into the chapter, like a character like Edric Storm. Maybe there are characters that you could tell their story that is like a side story to a Game of Thrones, like the Song of Ice and Fire, like characters you left out or characters that interact with some of these like smaller characters. Like, I mean, I'm not saying we need like a Salad Sand show, but
no, we don't.
like you could give us like an Essos show about just like things that are going on in Essos, and you like something that would like fit within maybe the budget of a Dunkin' Egg. And things like that as a way to expand the story. Because when you go back and you begin looking at some of these other things, I just don't know where you pick and choose and say like, oh, we're going to do like here's a story about somebody that's going on during like King Jaehaerys or something.
Right.
But there are a lot of characters in A Song of Ice and Fire, like the main series, like an Edric Storm, like an Edric Dane, who I don't know.
I'll give you 2 things.
Maybe there's a little bit of story there you could give us that could be something kind of cool that you could use to bridge some gaps somewhere, or almost like an Andor.
It already exists, bro. Telltale.
It's called. Oh yeah, yeah.
Make that to a show.
Yeah,
dude. The story in the Telltale game was sick. The Heart Tree.
Yeah, and there's like the old grove, and there's all these got like, what's going on there?
They did a nice job of tying it into the timeline of Game of Thrones, but not relying on it too much. It's its own conflict between
House
two
Forrester
houses.
is mentioned in the books.
It's real. I'm telling you, dude. If they made a TV show out of the Telltale storyline, I would be on board. I would love it.
Yeah.
And folks, if you're not if you don't play games or whatever, you should honestly go watch like YouTube videos of the Telltale game story. The thing about Telltale games, if you're not familiar, is that you make your own decisions. The sad part is that since it's only the first game, your decisions really don't matter that much. Like the idea is that in the sequels it would have been, but they lost their licensing and the studio collapsed. Now it's back. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. Go watch the story.
What do you have it? Do you remember at all which choice you made? Which brother did you save?
Oh, I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything. Honestly, I could replay it and it'd probably feel brand new again.
Well, then
I should do that.
Well, then I won't say it because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah. Don't spoil it for the to the listeners. They're gonna go watch it on YouTube now.
I'm sure a lot of them haven't seen it.
I think people would get behind that.
You do interact with people from the thing. Like you interact with Cersei, you interact with Jon Snow. And Tyrion. And it's actually all their voice actors. Ramsay Bolton. Jeez, Ramsay Bolton.
It's awesome, bro.
Ramsay in that game is brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
I'm telling you, man, you could bring these people in for cameos, right? Like you could have Kit Harington for 3 episodes or something. And I think people would be excited about it because I think that the conflict of that story is on its own really good and would make for good television. Another thing that we can consider, Matt, and you're talking about these stories we can tell. If Duncan Egg succeeds and it is shown that a lighter, almost family-friendly tone can work in the Westeros TV universe, then that opens up a lot more options about things that you can do in Westeros. Like if we can prove that there is an appetite for something lighter, that opens up a whole other realm of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a bunch of different shows and things. And I mean, things you could do. I mean, you could do something. It's almost like in Star Wars, it's like, okay, well, you've got like the Jedi, and then now like there's like the Jedi and the Sith and what's always going on with them. But then there's always been the undercurrent of like smugglers and the Imperial agents and all this stuff that they've never really been able to kind of pull off until now. Now we got the Mandalorian. Now we got Andor. Now, I mean, of course, Rogue One came out, but it was like it's so tied to Star Wars Episode 4.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, there's this whole other reason. Now we're getting a Darth Maul show in Star Wars. That's also going to be, even though he is a Sith, it takes entirely place during when he becomes the leader of like a crime syndicate. Right. I mean, that's like, so you're still exploring that like criminal underbelly and stuff. And that's a big part of it. I mean, and that's what this may introduce is like Flea Bottom and all these different all these different things. Do we know anything? We've kind of gone off the rails about the chapter, by the way.
Yeah,
so I know you're fine. I do want to kind of tie back into that, but real quick. The play, wasn't that supposed to happen? Is there anything on that?
Oh, from what I remember, George gave an update like a couple months back, and he basically said they were writing it. I think they secured a location. I don't believe it's on Broadway in New York. I think it's going to happen in the United Kingdom, London, maybe.
But it said it was really expected to make its debut in 2023. It was delayed to late 2024, and now it is delayed to 2024. But I mean, is it?
He said that they were. I thought he said that they were starting to draft it, like maybe only 2 months ago or so. Whenever he was still updating us on his blog.
On the road again. The last time he said anything was 2024.
All right, maybe I'm way off here.
I think I'm way off. I think that's the last time he said anything about it.
Are we expecting anything from New York Comic Con? George is going to be there. I think it's just to push the show.
I think too. So I don't think there's anything going on with it. The Iron Throne is what it's called, but
it's supposed to be the tourney at Harrenhal.
The Iron Throne is coming. Can I buy tickets? No, not currently booking. So yeah, it's not happening
yet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the last update was that they were beginning to write this play.
Yeah, so I know. Okay, let's pull back in here and finish up this short chapter here. So like we said, this chapter basically is kind of a bridge really into Davos, into a Dance of Dragons, which is going to set us on a very different path between Melisandre and Davos, where Melisandre is going to be stuck at the wall and Davos is beginning his journey, his search for Rick and Stark.
Yeah, and Davos has had a great character arc, by the way. I mean, in the beginning of the book, he's washed up upon shore and left for dead and has a kind of an out-of-body religious experience and comes back with a vengeance, swears vengeance on Melisandre, and has really stuck to his guns. Like, he's a brave person in this book and way less subservient. He's talking back. He's kind of telling it how it is. I think that Davos's character arc is slightly undervalued. When people point all the pessimism and stuff, I think that Davos has a lot of forward momentum.
Yeah, it's one of my he's one of my favorite point of view reads. In fact, I've only done a couple, but I have done Davos is one of the people I have done a straight through read, which is a Davos read. But yeah, so I'm actually looking here because I want to make sure I get it pulled up, because we're going to be doing boiled leather, by the way, when we finish the Storm of Swords.
Hell yeah.
Because we're not into Davos until Davos 1 of A Dance with Dragons. So because actually we're doing this weird read, not weird read, but it's super, super cool read, where it's going to be combining the books in a much more chronological way. Davos is actually going to be chapter 21-ish. We may refrain this, but it's about chapter 21 of our Boiled Leather read. So otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about Davos again for like
for years.
2 years. I mean, like, yeah. So okay. So any let me read some comments here. Just from the Song of Ice and Fire reread. So Davos' last words to Edric is, "May the warrior defend you," which is appropriate since Edric had just said he won't pray to R'hllor because he's the warrior's man. But Edric replies with, "May the Father judge you justly," which does tie into, by the way, all these gods of the seven who we've been talking about time and time again in each chapter, which is really cool. We've heard that line a few times recently, always in reference to someone who's just died. I'm sure Edric didn't mean it that way, since Davos presents this as something Stannis commanded, but it's sure ominous. Davos is feeling more uneasy in Dragonstone than ever before. The wings of the stone dragons cast great black shadows in the light of the night fire. He tried to tell himself that they were no more than carvings, cold and lifeless. This was their place once, a place of dragons and dragon lords, the seat of House Targaryen. The Targaryens were the blood of old Valyria. I believe the next Jon chapter, which is the next chapter, opens with him having the dream where Winterfell isn't his place. Oh, by the way, since we're comparing Jon to Davos, the line "Your Grace made me swear to give you honest counsel and swift obedience to defend your realm against your foes, to protect your people. Is not Edric Storm one of your people? The one I swore to protect. I keep my oath. How could that be treason? Is similar to Jon's decision to letting the wildlings come through the wall. And then ultimately, if this does go the route it goes in the show, and Davos becomes like Jon Snow's,
I think that's
Hand of the King or whatever, then kind of interesting. And George, he does this so much, this like connecting like this chapter to this, like the chronological read, because everyone does the point of view reads, where you miss out on that. And that's why you have to read these books like 14 different ways to even understand it.
Yep. It's also,
I think that's like a pretty telling sign that Davos will most likely end up Jon's Hand of the King, like we saw in the show.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Jon is largely going to fill the void where Stannis has left once he is killed. However that may happen. I think that we've speculated that's probably going to be a bit different than it was in the show, but I think that this is why rereading the books totally is like such a good idea, and is something you miss whenever you just only use the wiki and you're searching and stuff. It's great tools. It's awesome. But I think what you can really start to see more of George's intentions when you follow it chapter by chapter. And we've talked about this with Tyrion and Jaime, and I mean we've pointed it out multiple times, and we're always so thankful that we're doing a chapter a week most weeks. So yeah, I agree. I think there's a huge correlation there. And I actually could see Davos rising pretty high by the end of the story.